Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mindful 10. I hope you enjoy this beautiful day. I wanted to ask you today whether sometimes you have doubts. And those doubts, I wanted to ask you, what are you actually doubting, or whom? Doubts sometimes come up. And I find it really interesting that in the hindsight of things, we very often easily doubt things that are good for us, whereas we hardly doubt things that are not so good for us. So whether you're in a job situation or in a relationship, or you have to make a decision, when you're in the system, in the job, in the relationship, and something negative is happening in or around you, we are actually hardly doubting this negativity, and not as much as we do, interestingly, when we're out of the system and start making positive choices, positive changes. Then we start doubting them much more easily. Or if we are on the mend, if we are on the way to getting better, we start doubting our decisions and ourselves. The questions when those doubts come up for me is very often, where do I feel those doubts? Where do they sit? What voice is it that I'm hearing with those doubts? Am I actually doubting the decision? Am I doubting my ability to make that decision? So am I actually doubting myself? And the doubts actually come from the fear of the unknown. That's why we're doubting things, because we're not sure, will it work, will it not? Am I qualified enough? What am I doing here anyway? The doubts come from the fear of the unknown, which also means, and that's the positive news about it, the more you meditate on it, the more you ponder about it, the less unknown it becomes, and the more familiar it actually becomes. So the more familiar it becomes, the more you will feel in your body whether it's a good decision or not. So you don't have to make a decision from here to within seconds sometimes. It's actually better to sit down and, as I would, meditate, but you can also ponder about it or write something about it or whatever your tool is, and become familiar with the thought or the decision that you're up to make. So the more familiar you become with this new thought, this new idea, this change, the more you will feel whether it still stays strange to you, alien to you, or whether it becomes more and more familiar and you realize this is actually more aligning with what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, how I want to live, than if you let that opportunity go. So whenever doubts arise, stop doing what you're doing and just sit down. Just sit down and become aware of it. Become aware of your doubts and listen to where in your body those doubts are sitting. Listen to what voice it is, and listen to what you are actually doubting. And then become aware and realize, oh yes, okay, this is new, this is different. Where am I going with this? Or maybe even do a scenario like, what's the worst case scenario if I'm doing this, and what's the worst case scenario when I'm doing that one? But it is very good to doubt the status quo. It is very good to doubt the things we do sometimes. But it's not good then procrastinating it. So just because you're having doubts, it doesn't mean that in 10 minutes or 10 hours or 10 days, it's going to be easier or better. So take your time to really look at those doubts that you're having, and whether it's just the fear of the unknown, which you then can make familiar by really pondering or meditating on that thought, on that change, on that decision that you have to make, and become aware whether you are more aligned with what the possible outcome may be, or whether it's really such an alien and strange thing. So don't do it. Then don't do it. But a yes or a no is 100 times better than a maybe, because a maybe keeps you in a stuck energy. A maybe keeps you in a, yes, of course, the potentiality is still there, but it also means it's not there. It's like Schrodinger's cat. You don't know if it's dead or alive. You don't know if it's a yes or a no. As long as you're in doubt, as long as you don't make a decision, as long as you are stuck in the maybe, there's nothing happening. If you have a yes or a no, you are able to react. You are able to respond. You are able to put into action what is necessary to get forward. As long as you stay with the maybe. Oh yes, as long as I don't have a no, there's still the potentiality that it could work out. But it's also not a yes, is it? So when you feel those doubts come up, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the consequences maybe even, stop what you're doing, sit down, bring your mind into a calm state and just listen. Listen to where the doubts are sitting. Listen to who's talking. Get to the bottom of those doubts and become familiar with these thoughts. And in the process of becoming familiar with these thoughts, you will realize whether the decision or whatever you're making is in alignment with yourself or still alien. And then act accordingly. Add as much silence to this Mindful 10 as you like. And I hope you enjoy it. And enjoy this beautiful day. See you soon. Bye.